Good evening, or should I say good morning, Harrison?
Either or.
Either or. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we'd do something a little bit different today because today's a special day. Oh, crap. Butterfingers. Today's a special day. Oh, I have with me a file folder, as you can see. And as you can see, it's your file. This is your file. And I found in your file today your punch card. So, Harrison, according to the rules of the punch card, you have earned all of these punches through the course of a year's worth of Grab a Stack of Rock. And today, Harrison, my friend, you get to pick the show topic. How does that feel, sir?
It feels unusual, shall we say? That's a lot.
Yeah.
I've suggested plenty of topics.
Well, Harrison, today you get to redeem your full punch card. Harrison, what would you like to do for the topic tonight?
Blaze Bayley.
Sounds good, my friend. Let's grab a stack of rock.
Friday night, we're off to the races. Come and see familiar faces. Uncle Meat, Rob Daniels, Jon Snow. Gibby's here, it's the place to go. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Man. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Keyboard's here, it's time for a party. And Chris has got the comments started. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Man. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack of rock.
Yes, tonight we are doing it. We are finally doing Blaze Bayley, Nigel Tufnell Top 10. And I've been listening to Blaze all week, and I'm really psyched for tonight's show, Harrison. And I know you are. You've been wanting to do this for a long time. And folks, if this animated backdrop is in any way too annoying, just leave a comment and I'll ditch it. But this is a new feature that I thought we'd try for the first time tonight. So Harrison, as you know, we like to start the show every time with a little thing called Ask Harrison. And today we have a question from Jen.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah?
Now that you've got me into those Lego minifigures, just got a question for you.
Yeah?
You know, I've seen a lot of them, but how many exactly are there of those musical instruments on those minifigures?
I don't know. I think that's a question for Harrison.
All right, let's see. There's acoustic guitar, electric guitar in a variety of styles. There's a lute. There's a saxophone. There's a French horn. Maybe not a French horn. It's like the horn instrument that's like small and
perhaps a clarinet.
Short. Not a clarinet. No, this is definitely a brass one. You can build drums and cymbals. I've built a bass clarinet for a couple of images. There's the cello as well. That's a new one that just got introduced. What else? That's, I think, most of the well-known ones. I can't think of any more, I'm afraid.
Excellent. Well, I think we're going to want to add a cello and a saxophone to our collection for sure. Well, my friend, we're doing it tonight. Blaze Bayley. I think you're focusing on his solo career, but I'm going for Iron Maiden, Wolfsbane, and Blaze solo. Blaze Bayley and Blaze. Either or. I just want to ask you a quick question before we get started. What was your introduction point to Blaze as a solo artist? And what is it about Blaze that you love so much?
My introduction to him as a solo artist we'll get to in the list.
Okay. Fair.
So I will save that. And I think it's, well, basically there's him as a person and him as an artist. I admire him very much as a person. He's a great person. As for him as an artist, I think it's his voice. Like, his baritone is incredibly unique and expressive, and when he sings, he can inject so much story and presence into his songs that you don't always get from those supersonic singers.
Gotcha. And I agree with all that stuff. Okay, one more thing before we go. I just want to do a quick unboxing. I received this in the mail today. This comes from Music in Motion. And this, I believe, is a CD that I'm going to be reviewing very, very soon. But from Music in Motion, there is a press release with this. Oh, okay. It is the new Svengali album, Bombs and Battle Scars. This is actually my second copy of it.
Yes, I remember seeing that one on here.
Yes, yes. Okay, so this is not what I was expecting. But this means that I will be able to give away a copy of Bombs and Battle Scars on a future episode of Grab a Stack of Rock. So keep that in mind, folks. We will be figuring out a way to give away that copy of Svengali, Bombs and Battle Scars, because, folks, that is very kind of them to send to me. I don't know if they knew this, but I did unbox my signed autographed copy that I ordered, that I purchased as a fan. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much, Music in Motion. I will definitely share the love and pass that on to a lucky viewer in a future episode, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be doing this. Okay, Harrison, because this is your show, this is your passion, we are going to do something different. And instead of starting on you and finishing on me, we're going to do the opposite. So my Blaze Bayley number 11 pick, we are doing tonight a Nigel Tufnell top 10, which means we go up to 11. So let's do this.
Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. Oh, this one's gone to 11. Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. Nigel Tufnell.
So here we have 10th Dimension Special Edition. And if you look really close at the sticker, you can see the shape of a Savatage logo. Those are tour dates with Savatage, which, incidentally, I am doing a top 5 Savatage songs with the 80s Metal Man. You'll be seeing that on my site very soon. But I'm obviously holding this up for a reason. Today I picked, this week, I picked the song Leap of Faith as my number 11. I just made very brief notes here about my impressions. I put blazing fast and great chorus. Now, that seems to be a recurring theme with a lot of these great Blaze songs. But
yeah, I can
Harrison,
agree.
you're the real expert. Can you tell me anything about that song and what you feel about Leap of Faith?
It's actually not one of the ones that I've picked from 10th Dimension for my list, actually, but to talk about it a bit, yeah, blazing fast, pun fully intended. It's not one of the more well-known songs, actually. You've gone a bit off the beaten track, because I don't think it entered the live set much, which is a shame. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can play, especially when you're drawing on 2 great Maiden albums as well to supplement your set list. You know, Wolfsbane often got minimal offerings just because there was so much that Blaze had to basically play.
Yes, and I'm sure that we'll be looking at some live albums today that may show that kind of ratio. Anyway, this is the deluxe edition of 10th Dimension, which has a bonus live CD.
Oh,
are you not aware of this, Harrison?
Well, I didn't know what was on the deluxe edition of 10th Dimension. My copy of 10th Dimension is bog standard, unfortunately.
Well, I shall share with you that you get
I'm jealous.
the launch, future reel, Tough as Steel, which I apologize. I kept writing as Sharp as Steel today.
Mhm.
Evolution, and a studio track, Living Someone Else's Life. I don't know if you have that on anything.
I
But-
don't actually.
Well, there you go. Oh, wow. So we're off to a good start here with my number 11. So again, that's Leap of Faith, and this 10th Dimension Deluxe with the live CD is something Harrison wants. So folks, keep your eyes peeled. Let us know if there's any good deals on Discogs. Okay, Harrison, over to you. Number 11.
All right, so I'm doing mine because he's got 10 studio solo albums. I'm doing it in chronological order through the solo albums, plus the one live album that I think is his best. So first up, you'll also get a bit of a rundown of the history of his solo career. Now, I'd like to actually throw it to you because you were there at the time. So his first solo album, Silicon Messiah, set the scene for us.
Oh, boy, I didn't know I was going to be put on the spot like this, Harrison. Turning the tables on me. Is this revenge for last week when I kept asking you questions?
No, this is me deferring to your experience.
Well, you're talking about me as a fan. You're not talking about Harrison's Blaze's career at that point in time, I guess, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Give us the rundown of his history, I guess.
Well, obviously,
Let's
Blaze
go
was
inside.
fronting Iron Maiden from 1995 to 1999 when they did a tremendous reunion with both Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith. And we all know what happened from there. They've been a solid lineup for 24 years, unprecedented in Maiden history. You know, the most stable lineup was that period between Number of the Beast and Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. And now we have this extended family that now includes
Technically,
Janet.
Peace of Mind and Seven Sons.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So, yes, technically. Yes. Sorry. Anyway, long story short, Blaze Bayley came in at a very difficult time for Iron Maiden.
And heavy metal in general.
In heavy metal in general. Fear of the Dark didn't sell up to prior expectations. There was, you know, wishy-washy feelings among fans, whether they liked this direction that Maiden were going in. But worse, you know, we had this wave of grunge that had hit and were really impacting every metal band that was touring and putting out albums. At the same time, we had other bands such as Judas Priest, Anthrax, Motley Crue losing their lead singers. And who would have thought Maiden was going to lose Bruce? Wow, that was a hard... Of all of those guys, I think Bruce leaving Maiden might have hit me the hardest personally. But I was rooting for both of them. I loved Balls to Picasso. I still love Balls to Picasso. I'll defend that album to my death. And I don't even think that's a controversial opinion anymore. It was at one point. Blaze came in, did the best he could. Now, I love the X Factor, as you are well aware. Steve Harris, at one point, I don't know if he still does, but at one point he ranked it as his number 3 favorite Iron Maiden album, Peace of Mind and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It's a dark album. Steve Harris had lost his father. He was writing about those kinds of feelings, but it also was the first Iron Maiden album in a long time to kind of go into war and history. And I'll talk about what I love about this album as we go. Virtual 11, probably a dip in quality, arguable. The song started getting a lot more repetitive with the choruses. But Blaze, his voice was very different from Bruce's, obviously. He's a baritone, as you said. And let's face it, we have differing opinions, you and I, on the album that I have, the live bootleg Virtual Light Strike. I did play it again this week, and I admit I might have been harsh on it, but it's very pitchy. You know, Blaze is off pitch very, very often on a lot of the Bruce Dickinson material specifically. But to me, it was inevitable that it wasn't a situation that was sustainable. I think Iron Maiden might have risked becoming one of those bands that was known as hit or miss in concert, which is not a thing that you associate with Iron Maiden. Just my opinion. I know we have differing opinions on this, but again, I don't, no point did was I like, yeah, Blaze, fuck that guy. At no point, you know, I always liked when a band was stable, and they had a period of time where they did 2 studio albums and a greatest hits in between. It was a 5-year period. It was a good run. And I wanted Blaze to do well. Now, it took a while before Silicon Messiah was released in the year 2000, I believe I wrote down. And as you know, I was working in a used record store at that time. So the CD came in and I was like, instant buy. because you're not going to walk into your local HMV store and find that. And if you did, it'd be $25. So got it home and played it. Actually, I played it in store. In store. I believe I was in Oakville, and you know all the stories about Oakville. But I was playing it, and I'm like, wow, good song. Wow, good song. Wow, good song. On and on and on it went. Good songs all the way through. Heavier than Maiden. A little bit more modern, chunkier, but not all Blaze albums sound the same either. But it was of its time, it was chunkier metal, those kind of chunk riffs. And I liked it. Bottom line, I liked it. Bought it. Brought it home. Liked it enough that I bought 10th Dimension after that, and we'll get to the rest. But I hope that answers your question with a really lengthy answer.
Absolutely. The short version is saying that Blaze came back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
An incredible album in Silicon Messiah.
There it is.
We have here. Now, there are a lot of great tracks on this, so many of them, even the ones that aren't appearing on my list, like The Brave, The Launch. They've been in set lists, all throughout his career. Ghost in the Machines popped up a few times. This, by the way, was produced and engineered and mixed by Andy Snape.
Current Judas
most of the actual Blaze albums up to the live album, I believe, had him on production.
Cool.
Now, I could have picked the title track for my list, but I thought that was a bit of an obvious pick and we'd be seeing it elsewhere. The title track's an amazing song at a time when Judas Priest were releasing Cyberface, and not long after Rush was singing about Netboy and Netgirl. Blaze Bayley, of all people, came out here with the most enduring song about the internet and computers, and he wrote it in 2000. But the songs that I've picked, so the way I've structured my list, because I want to talk about Blaze, is I give you an honorable mention for each album and an entry for each album.
Hardcore.
2 songs per album.
So in other words, I'm going to need a second coffee.
Yes. Nobody's getting an early bedtime today. So for my honorable mention, I've picked the closer, Stare at the Sun. It's the most like a traditional Maiden epic. It's got the quiet intro and then it ramps up. It's got a really good chorus that actually has Blaze reaching for the upper part of his range, and it works. It works when he goes there.
Yeah, I agree. I like it too.
And my actual list entry is Born as a Stranger. About midway through the album, it's got compared to all this chunky heavy metal on here, Born as a Stranger, though still metal, has this sort of brighter, more upbeat feel to it. It's still, heavy metal, but it makes a really good show closer after an hour and a half of metal. You go out with this sort of, for lack of a better term, this happier sounding song. It makes a really good show closer. I really love that song. Now, this is the 15th anniversary edition of Silicon Messiah. So you get 3 bonus tracks. You get The Day I Fell to Earth. You get a song with Samuel L. Jackson's favorite word in it that I shan't repeat. And then you have a live version of Wolfsbane's Steel, as in tough as steel, but during the Blaze Bayley solo era, he would abbreviate it to Steel.
Question. Was I previously aware of this and have just forgotten it existed?
Possible. It's from 2015, so it's a reissue. Obviously,
I probably wasn't aware of that. So Harrison, you've just put something. So now, folks, for those keeping score at home, we now have 1 CD that Harrison is looking for, and if you wouldn't mind showing it again, 1 CD that I am looking for. So please, folks, help us out. Let's address some of these comments.
You can buy this directly from Blaze's website, and if you do, you can get him to sign it. Comes in most of these albums I have come in slip cases, but I've removed them because he's signed it and it's obscuring the cover art.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so anyways, Uncle Meat, welcome to the show. Bailey Alexander Cook was born May 29th, 1963, the same day that Lisa Welchel of The Facts of Life was born. I think I know which one that is. Is that what's her name? Tootie? Let me know in the comments. I don't know the actors' names. I know the characters' names. Some of them. And Henry, welcome to the show. First discovered Blaze when he did a deep dive in Iron Maiden and heard his 2 albums, and then checked out Blaze's solo career after that.
Good man.
A little later on, he got to see Blaze in concert and became even more fond of him after I experienced him live.
Blaze is great live. I
There
haven't
you
seen him,
go.
but I've seen plenty of DVDs and footage and live albums.
Yeah, there's great footage as well. Okay, my number 10. Oh, wait, you thought he was Blair. No, I did too. I thought he was Blair as well, but hey, let's let Wikipedia decide. Where did I put my pile of Blaze? There, right here. Okay, so from 10th Dimension to my favorite Blaze Bayley album, the
And
newest one. Yeah, it is so good. You're going to be hearing more about this album today. Warrior is the song that I chose from Blaze's most recent album, War Within Me. And I thought it would be nice to read the liner notes because Blaze wrote liner notes to every song in this album. So anytime I came across one, I try to tell myself I have choices. At my shows for the last couple of years, I have introduced the song Future Real by saying, take your future in your own hand. As Chris and I were working on this song, I had a strong feeling about using that idea as a lyric. If I am feeling broken, alone, and left for dead, perhaps it is not the end. If I make a choice to try and get up and try again, perhaps I can choose to think of myself as a warrior and not a failure. Fear can be debilitating. Feeling scared of the next challenge in my life and the fear of an uncertain and unknown future. Whoa, did he not know what was coming in his life? There's more, but could I be a warrior? I'm broken, alone, left for dead. Can I be a warrior with courage to rise up again? It's that kind of song. It's a rallying cry. It's for inner strength. There's a lot of those kind of lyrics, especially on this album. Blaze Bayley is an underrated songwriter and lyricist, and we will get into the lyrics, but I think it was the lyrics of that song that jumped out at me just as much as the song itself, which I wrote down was heavy, but also his most melodic on this album. So I don't know. Do you agree? Most melodic? Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about, Meat. I understand. Okay. Harrison, do you agree? Most melodic song on this album?
Yes, I think I would agree, particularly in the intro as it starts as well.
Warrior, warrior. Yeah. Awesome song. Okay. Your number 10 and your runner-up number 10, I guess. You get to you're doing 22 songs tonight. Just want to know, just want to point out to the audience that are watching tonight that Harrison is really
Milking
using his
this.
punch card. He is milking his punch card. Because I mean, look how many punches he had to get to earn this.
Now, I didn't realize this because we're doing a tough note. Entry number 2 is number 10. And Blaze's second album is called 10th Dimension.
Sorry, one moment. Keep going.
All right. So this is just your bog standard version of 10th Dimension. No bonus tracks. But I did buy it directly from Blaze, so I have the slipcase with it signed. Anyway, 10th Dimension, I prefer Mike's cover. It's a little more vibrant. But 10th Dimension is a science fiction concept album. And there are a lot of good tracks on here, a lot of really good tracks on here. And 2 of them I'm going to tell you about. So the first, my honorable mention is Speed of Light. And much as the name suggests, it's very fast. It makes an incredible show opener. We'll get to that, but it was an amazing show opener. It really kicks the show into gear. Once again, it has Blaze reaching for some of the higher, this is Blaze, so high notes is a relative term, but it has him reaching for the higher part of his range. And once again, just like Stare at the Sun, it works really well. Blaze has a very powerful voice. So now for my actual entry, I have gone with the title track 10th Dimension, and Blaze's voice just soars here. On the chorus, it's just like flying above the music. I'm not just in range, but just in feel. It's a really good track. It hurt me that I couldn't put Kill and Destroy on here, but on this list. But 10th Dimension had to take.
I'm sorry, I'm having internet problems.
Yes, you are a little fuzzy at the moment. But that is my number 10, 10th Dimension. Oh. Now he's having mic problems. He's Mike and he's having mic problems. That's your lame joke quota. Yeah, no, we can't hear you, Mike.
Okay, how am I now?
Much better.
Okay, I was having internet issues, and anyway, I missed most of what you were saying. I'm sorry, but I'll watch it in the rerun. Hopefully it's okay. Thank you,
Something,
sweetie.
something, great album, something, something, great song, something, something, Blaze rules.
Great riffs. Number 9?
Yes, number 9.
Number 9. Okay. You know, I'm looking at my list. I'm like, I can't believe this song is number 9 because it's one of my absolute favorites. And we're still on this album. And I have been talking about this song.
I could do an entire list, just this track list.
I know. I've been talking about this song all freaking day. And as you know, I have a review of this album coming, and I talked about this song extensively because it's not necessarily the best song on the album, but it's my favorite song in the album. And I guess it's because I'm a geek. And it's from what I call the Scientist trilogy on this album. He has 3 songs in a row: The Dream of Alan Turing, The Power of Nikola Tesla, and of course, the unstoppable Stephen Hawking. Is Blaze the first artist to ever write a song about Stephen Hawking? Stephen Hawking was in a Pink Floyd song, but is this the first song ever written about him?
Possibly. I'd have to check that.
Here's the interesting thing about I'm just going to talk about the trilogy real quick. The interesting thing about the trilogy is that the first 2 songs are different from the third in a significant way. The Dream of Alan Turing is about artificial intelligence. The Power of Nikola Tesla is about the man's ingenuity and free energy and all these other things that Tesla was doing. But the unstoppable Stephen Hawking is not about black holes or quantum physics. It's about the disease that he fought his whole life, with lines.
Okay. That's unfortunate. Mike is doing a Jex today. Well, I'll just talk a bit about Unstoppable Stephen Hawking for a bit then. It's a bit like the traditional Maiden epic, because it starts with a slow melodic intro and then it launches into life for the rest of the song. I think it's about 6 or 7 minutes.
Sorry, I my internet conked out again. Okay. Anyway, I was just about to say that the main lyric that I really like here is the hook. They only gave him 3 years to live, then Hawking defied them. It's a great song. Everything that you just said that I heard about it being a Maiden-esque epic is absolutely true. I wrote down that it's one of Blaze's best riffs as well.
And he's got some good ones. We'll get to them.
How is my internet tonight? Like it just blacks out for me.
You're crispy, but then you just froze and cut out for a second.
Okay. Well, hopefully it maintains. Okay, so now we are at your number 9.
Yes, the last studio album of the Blaze era. Now, I'm going to need you to hold this one up because I haven't actually picked it up yet.
Sure.
It is Blood and Belief. Now, because I haven't picked this one up yet, I wasn't as familiar, but I do know a bunch of songs that appeared on the live albums, and my honorable mention here is 10 Seconds, and this is a great song, but it really came into itself live, where there was some crowd chanting and that sort of thing, and I believe, if I can recall correctly, and it pains me that I can't because I watched it live in Poland not long ago, but I believe there's also like a bass solo and crowd interaction between David Bermudez, the bass player, on Alive in Poland. And that's also really fun and just adds to the song. Now, my number 1 pick is Alive. Alive is really heavy. And it's Blaze basically being defiant to everyone who tried to put him down and told him to pack it in. And it's him just saying, no, I'm still going. I'm still alive. I'm not going anywhere. And unfortunately, he's had to deal with that a lot during his career. But yes, he's still alive. It's 2023. He's still alive. He's going strong, and he's as good as he's ever been.
He's got tour dates in 2024, and doing Wolfsbane too. That reminds me of one of the songs. You'll have to remind me which one on The War Within. The one where he says, "They told me that I couldn't sing. Come on and sing with me."
We'll get to that one.
Okay, good. Yeah. It gives you an idea of the kind of things he's put up with his whole life. Okay, well, I don't have to get a different CD. because from this album I picked Regret. And I put that it sounds like Metallica. And I was thinking about the riff. Very, very Metallica, gallopy Metallica kind of stuff. What do you have to say about Regret?
That one's actually slipping my mind a bit.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Well, then I wish I had taken more detailed notes.
Sorry.
Anyway, folks, check out Regret from Blood and Belief. That's my number 8. Metallica-esque.
Yes. Regretfully, I can't recall much about that one at the moment.
See, normally I have to point in this direction. Now I gotta. Anyway. Okay, so I guess we're at your number 8.
All right. So the final thing that the band as Blaze, as in just the word Blaze, released was a live release called As Live As It Gets. I've been looking for this one for a little while now, but Mike has it. Do you have it on hand?
I have it on hand.
I believe this was the last one that Andy Snape was involved in. I don't think he did.
Yes, Andy Snape is on this one.
Yeah. This is a great album, and the pick of the bunch from this is actually the live cover of Led Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused.
Damn!
You wouldn't expect a baritone covering Robert Plant to be one of the best covers you've ever heard, but he takes it in a new direction. His voice actually, the way he sings, he and the melody he changes to actually suit him. It's heavier. There's a guitar harmony added. But my favorite bit is at the end, after the song ends, he's like, "Do you think Robert Plant would like that?" Well, I'd like it if he hated it.
Oh, man. Oh, concur. I concur on that song because, again, I remember playing that in the record store. And, man, I was just like, whoa, somebody did a Zeppelin cover that I actually like because that doesn't happen very often. Yeah, nice.
But for my list entry, we now get to another live album. My favorite of his career. I actually have this, don't worry. But Alive in Poland. So the history for this is that it was recorded in 2007. So it's still all Blaze era and Maiden era and Wolfsbane, but it's chronologically, in terms of performance time, the first to feature the band known as BLAZE BAYLEY, as in he added the Bayley part so people could tell that it's him. But this was actually released in 2013, I believe. So, or maybe it was 2000. The copyright's 2007. Either way, we'll get to the music now. It's an amazing live album. Amazing. There's a bunch of Maiden tracks on here. There's a bunch of basically the best of the Blaze band era, but they're just rendered incredibly well. Speed of Light, incredible opener. Born as a Stranger, great closer. You've heard me say this before. It's because of this album. But so my honorable mention, I'm actually going for some of the Maiden tracks on here. My honorable mention is Future Real. The song is a bit faster. There's an extra punch to the guitar harmony. Blazers worked on the melody. He puts more emphasis on the final line of each chorus. It works great. You could actually start to hear him just beginning to do this at the very end of the Virtual 11 tour. And it's come into full force now in his solo career. He's really taken the song to a new level. And my list entry for this is from the X Factor, Look for the Truth. As you point out in your review of this album, never played live by Iron Maiden. And it's a shame because it sounds amazing here. It's so powerful, so punchy. Blazer's voice, it's matured a bit, so it's got just more feeling to it, more story in every word. And just this song, the power with which he goes for the crowd chant actually being live. If listening to this version of this song doesn't make you a Blaze Bayley fan, nothing more.
There you go, folks. And I love that album too. I played it twice this week. It's fantastic. Okay, my number 7. Well, I guess I need to go get this CD again. Here we go. That's how good it is, folks. Okay, so this time I picked the title track, War Within Me, the opening track. Man, it's fast. It's heavy. It has a really great opening riff. Very different from an Iron Maiden riff, though. Never give up, I won't back down. Get stronger, be harder, be tougher, be proud. Never give up, war with myself. Crush doubt and fear. and answer the question, who am I? And then this riff, it's so fast. I cannot convey how good this song is. We talk about Blaze and his range a lot, and he manages to pack a lot of melody into that range. He really is very, very good at writing the perfect kind of melodies for that kind of metal voice. And it's a very unique metal voice, People in the Zepp, I said Zepp because of Henry's comment that's on my screen. In the Maiden days, people bitched and moaned. It didn't sound like Bruce. He couldn't hit the high notes and everything. And, fair play. But I don't think he gets credit for being a unique sounding vocalist. Not a lot of metal singers sing in that range, and he has mastered it. Like, he's a better singer today than he was in the Maiden days. And, that's not because of age. That's because of experience. And most singers, they decline, and not Blaze. He's just learned to master the instrument that is his voice. And I will now address Henry's comments. Everyone knows the Zepp version. The original recording of Dazed and Confused was by a guy named Jake Holmes. This is not something I knew before. Okay, I'll look into that further. And there's the information, folks, the above ground sound of Jake Holmes. So I guess Jimmy Page ripped off somebody again.
No, sure
not. I can't believe it. Okay, your number 7.
All right, we get into an album that I don't have now, unfortunately, because you can buy some albums directly from Blaze, and there are some you can't, and it's a bit odd and weird which ones you can and can't, because you'd naturally assume label issues, but there's basically a few gaps in his discography that you can't buy from him, so I haven't got. So this album is The Man Who Would Not Die. I hate to say this, but I don't think it's one of his better ones. It's a bit long, and it's a bit the middle section sort of drags a little, but it's got some great songs at the start, some great songs at the finish. My honorable mention here is the opener, the title track, The Man Who Would Not Die. This is razor sharp. It's really fast. It's riffy. And Blaze is just going for it 100% throughout the entire song vocally. He doesn't let up to the very end. It's a great opener. But Jimmy Page was in the Yardbirds.
There you go, folks.
But my entry for The Man Who Would Not Die is, now you talked about my introduction to Blaze as a solo artist. There were 2 songs way back in 2017 when I was first discovering music seriously.
Way back.
Sorry. For me, that's a quarter of my life, 6 years.
There you go.
Sorry. Okay. Just yesterday in 2017, when I was discovering music seriously, there were these 2 Blaze Bayley songs that I stumbled across that really stuck out to me. One of them was my entry from The Man Who Would Not Die, Waiting for My Life to Begin. It's crushingly heavy. It doesn't let up throughout the entire song. It's got these razor sharp licks throughout it. But it's got this grand chorus that's heavy and grand at the same time. It's not the type of song to lyrically, you don't want to listen to it on the way to your 9 to 5, but any other time, it's great.
Okay, noted. Don't play in the car on my way to work. On the way home from work, though, is that okay? On the way home from work, would that be all right?
Maybe, I'm not sure. That there are lines like, I'm waiting for my life to begin, and grinding all my life away.
No, that's not going to work.
Day,
not going to work in
grinding
traffic.
Week, in a grinding month, in a grinding year, grinding away.
Okay, no, thanks. No, I got it. Thanks, bud.
You get the point.
Okay, so I guess we're at number 6.
Yes.
And I've been looking forward to this because I wanted to show off my Wolfsbane cassette.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the debut Wolfsbane album, 1989. And folks, this band was signed to, can you make out the logo? No, you're not going to be able to see that on camera, I don't think, because I can barely see it myself. But that's a Deaf American logo. So, if that's Rick Rubin, that's some pretty big nameage. Kind of a neat cassette layout, isn't it? I got this used many years later. I don't remember where, but it might have been in Guelph. This is where Blaze got his start. They opened up for Maiden, and the rest, as they say, is, look how young he was, man.
Mhm.
All the hair, a little bit of a beard going on there.
None of the classic sideburns yet.
Not yet, but the eyes, that's Blaze, you know.
Mhm.
So that's the cassette, clear cassette. Produced by Rick Rubin. You know, these guys were poised for the big time. Why didn't they hit with that kind of name in the year 1989? I don't know.
They actually opened for Maiden on their No Prayer for the Dying tour.
It was just the wrong time, I suppose. You know, a band like Wolfsbane might have been able to nail it with the second album if the second album hadn't come out during the grunge era, but we'll never know. We'll never know. Anyway, I chose the song Steel. Tough as steel, toughest. Wait, that's not on this album, is it? No, it's not. I didn't pick the song Steel. Sorry, that's not the one I picked. Silly me. Shaken. It's a cool song. It's hard rock. It's not the metal that we know today from Maiden and Blaze. This is hard rock, and it just, I don't know. It's the most immediate song on this album, I think, in my opinion. I don't know if it was a single. I don't know if they played it live. I don't know any of that stuff. All I know is when I first bought this cassette, it was Shaken that I was taken by. And it continues to be a favorite. Every time I play it, it brings a smile to my face. But there's other good songs on here. Like if you want one of those fast ones, Manhunt is vicious. So I Like It Hot is kind of, I don't know, Motley Crue. I don't know. Wolfsbane didn't really have a fully formed direction at this point. I think they definitely evolved into a better space on the EP, All Hell's Breaking Loose at Little Kathy Wilson's place. I think their sound kind of solidified and focused. Hey, you are talking about Wolfsbane. Here's a man that was signed to Deaf American, actually, right there. And Blaze Bayley's favorite cartoon is Beetle Bailey. If he didn't say true story at the end of that sentence, I wouldn't have believed him. Interesting. Classic Wolfsbane reminds him a little bit of Dave Lee Roth era Van Halen. I wouldn't have thought that, but there you go. And Dave Lismy knew them personally. Wow. That's cool.
So to touch on Wolfsbane a bit, speaking of the song Steel, something I forgot to mention on Alive in Poland is that on the closing note of Steel, Blaze hits a Halford note. And if you don't believe me, listen to it, because I assure you, it is a Halford note. Excellent. And Blaze has actually reunited with Wolfsbane on a number of occasions.
That's right.
Including
with the original lineup.
Yes, for tours and a studio album, I think in 2015. And as Mike pointed out, just recently they released a poster for tour dates for next year. And there's this little line under the name, still the original lineup, which I think was just the perfect amount of snark and sincerity.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like this band did have snark. They were not a hair metal band per se, you know. Yes, there are songs on here like I Like It Hot that are in that landscape. They are in that ballpark. But yeah, they had more of that UK sleaze to them. And yeah, I like them. I like Wolfsbane. Not my favorite band in the world, but I like them just fine. And that's my number 6 is what we were doing. And after this, we'll take a quick break.
All right.
Before we get into top 5.
Our final Blaze album before the break then is from 2010, and it's called Promise and Terror. And this is an often overlooked one in his discography because it didn't contribute any like long living songs to the set list. And it's an album that requires the full listening experience to sort of properly get. That doesn't mean that the songs aren't good or that they don't stand out on their own. Just that they're not the type of songs where you look at this album like, say, War Within Me and go, you've got 10 singles on here. It's 11 songs, actually. You know, you wouldn't say that. There are a couple songs that do sort of stick out a bit on their own. And those are my entries. So for my honorable mention, I've got basically the only thing, if there was a single from the album, it would be this one. It is the opener, Watching the Night Sky. It's up-tempo, it's riffy, it's hooky, it's a great song. But for my entry, I've got 1633. Now, this is a song about Galileo Galilei from his perspective. It's like one of your classic Sabbath songs with Ozzy Osbourne. It's riffy, it's heavy, it has like 2 or 3 different melodies and riffs as the song goes. It's a great song. It's an amazing song. I would have loved to have heard it live. It's heavy as hell. Amazing song.
Harrison, would it fit in with the Scientist trilogy?
I don't think so. It's a more of a mid-tempo track, whereas the trio on War Within Me are all sort of up-tempo and a bit more frantic. And even Stephen Hawking when it gets going.
Yeah.
But this one's definitely slower. It's got more of a groove to it. Gotcha. But it carves.
Cool. I'm not aware of that album. He has a lot of stuff that I'm not aware of. Okay, so I'm feeling actually a little under the weather tonight, and I'm not 100% sure if it's because I was singing Savatage all afternoon or if it's because I'm getting an actual sore throat. But we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to run a clip from earlier this year during an Ask Harrison segment. T-Bone Erickson sent in a question on behalf of Blaze Bayley. And so we'll take a look at that Ask Harrison question from Blaze Bayley, and we'll look at Harrison's response to it. So we will be back in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Check this out. Ask Harrison, and this is a question from a new person. His name is...
Hello, Harrison, me mate, me biggest fan. How am ya? You good? All right then. You know, it's something I've always wanted to ask you. As me biggest fan, do you prefer me working Iron Maiden? Roll it down, roll it down, roll it down. Or do you prefer me work as a solo artist? Or perhaps you prefer Wolfsbane best? Black Logo! Black Logo! You know, just something I've always wanted to know. Anyway, good seeing ya. Take good care of yourself.
Harrison.
Yes.
Your reaction?
Well, that's a tough one. I can say that Wolfsbane is not my favorite.
You're so stoic. That was awesome. That was awesome, dude.
Yes, it goes without saying.
I see you're smiling. I'll take that as a reaction. You are so stoic. It's unbelievable. Anyway.
Yeah. The world could be ending up. It's just like, oh, is it tea time?
Anyway, would you like to answer Blaze Bayley's question? Do you prefer his work in Iron Maiden?
As I mentioned slightly earlier, Wolfsbane's my least favorite. It's hard to judge out of the other two. He's got more songs from his solo career that I like because he's been at it much longer. But I do like his Maiden era very much, including the live stuff. So I can't really say, like, I'm glad he went solo because we got great stuff with it. And I'm glad he went in Maiden because we got great stuff from it. I'm just going to say that I wouldn't change history, except maybe to make his solo career a bit more popular.
Good answer.
Mm-hmm.
God, I look 10 years older than that. That was less than a year ago, and I look 10 years older. You haven't aged. Okay, so we are back, and I am up now with my number 5. And now, at this point of my list, we are delving into Iron Maiden. Now, just because that one Wolfsbane song was my number 6 doesn't necessarily mean that I like Wolfsbane better than his solo, career. But it's just.
I wish to clarify in that video when I said it was my least favorite. What I should have said was that I'm the least familiar with it.
Fair. Hey, this is good that you got to revise that answer. Mm-hmm. I know that you're kind of infatuated with my lenticular cover
I've got my own lenticular cover now to be in.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's hard to tell, but the dead giveaway is that the virtual 11 is off center, and so is the Iron Maiden text.
It's much more impressive in person.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't work. You can kind of get a sense of the 3D effect. But anyway, I picked the song Educated Fool. There's a lot of long bombers on this album, which, hey, it's all about how you experience the album. And for me, I think Harrison's familiar with this story. I was living in a basement apartment with my buddy T-Rev, and we played a lot of Nintendo 64. And on that Nintendo 64, we played a lot of James Bond GoldenEye. And there's one level in there, it's like called Statue Park or something like that. But you're in Russia, and you're in this park, and you're in the dark, and you're hiding behind statues and all these other things, taking out agents that are trying to kill you. And I spent an entire evening one night playing that level to this album. And Educated Fool specifically is the song that triggers that memory. It sounded awesome. It sounded awesome in that setting. It's a great song. Slower. It does pick up. It has a serious pickup section. But I don't know. Of all the songs on this album, Educated Fool just kind of, it jumps out at me just a little bit differently. And maybe that part of that is because of that the opening guitar figure. Just a little bit different than other things on the album. Great song. Steve Harris wrote it. Blaze didn't, but Blaze delivers the goods.
You can hear Steve Harris in the lyrics.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the whole lyric is just one of his many stories with characters and all kinds of different things going on that we shall not discuss because I can't remember all of the lyrics at this time. But yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, so we get basically there was a bit of a change in personnel at this point in Blaze's solo career. The Bermuda's brothers and the other people in the band at the time basically ended up leaving, or Blaze had to reconsolidate basically. And so we get to the first album. If I have my story correctly, this is the first album that he truly considered to be a solo album.
Okay.
Now, this is the King of Metal. This is also one that you can't get directly for him for some reason, oddly, because it's the one that he considers his first solo album. So this is actually the album in his career that I'm the least familiar with. I actually listened to it for the first time in preparation for this show. But there are 2 songs that did stick out to me. There were a few more, but these are the ones that stuck out the most. So my honorable mention is the closer, Beginning. And it's just a tender ballad. And oddly, for an album called The King of Metal, it features the most ballad work Blaze has done on an album. I think there's like 2 or 3 that are pretty much ballady the whole way through. But Beginning is a ballad. Blaze really doesn't do ballads very often.
No.
Even when he has songs with softer bits, they usually get grander towards the end. So it's interesting to hear him. It's a very nice, interesting little sojourn for him musically. But my entry is the chugger, The Rainbow Fades to Black.
Ooh, okay. That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are some interesting song titles. Like there's one Dimebag on this album. There's
really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's about the guy, but it's called Dimebag.
Depends. Sorry, what year is this album?
2013, 2014.
Okay. Well, Dimebag Darrell would have been deceased by that point, so it could be. It's hard to name a song that without making that association in the world of metal, especially. Okay, interesting. I guess Sorry.
We'll have to ask Blaze then.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Hey, maybe Blaze, maybe keep tagging Blaze tomorrow on Instagram and we'll see what happens. My number 4. We're still with Iron Maiden. And we'll take this opportunity to show off something that both Harrison and I own. Our first repeat song of the evening. So here is the X Factor. This is the Japanese 2 CD edition with 3 bonus tracks, all originals, no covers. And I chose Look for the Truth. Now, Look for the Truth is one of those songs that Steve Harris wrote all by himself and has a very deep personal meaning to him. You know, this wasn't your daddy's Iron Maiden album, as the saying goes. They were unafraid to write about things, you know, serious things. Look for the truth. So it starts dark. All my dark dreams drift like smoke in the breeze. The fear grips me as I fall towards my sleep. Here comes the nightmare that never ends. Here is the dream that makes monsters of men. This is, you know, terrifying shit, you know? But now they come again. I am falling down to meet with them. Fears within us all, mine awake, and they stand up tall. Onwards. It's my final stand. I make a fist out of each hand. To the shadows of the past, take a breath, and I scream attack. And
Hearing that line live on Alive in Poland is
yeah. This is a great thing. That just happened to be on a picture of Blaze, by the way. But that's powerful stuff to me. This is actually a collaboration between Blaze, Yannick, and Steve in the writing credits. Again, great stuff. Ballady at the beginning, and it's one of the few songs that don't start with a bass intro. Really nice guitar tone on this album. I think Nigel Green co-produced with, Nigel Green and Steve Harris. They got a really nice guitar tone on this album. Now, it's a very different sounding album. I was talking to a lot of people today. Ryan Gavalier, for example, doesn't care for this. Jonathan Lee, bless your heart. Jonathan Lee does not like this stuff. I get it. It's not like those earlier Maiden albums. Had Bruce stayed in the band, this album would not have come out the way it did. I guarantee that. It would have been different. But this is who Iron Maiden were. They were expressing themselves musically. Even if the lyrics had nothing to do with what they were feeling, there's a darkness to the songs. Like, what's the Edge of Darkness? That's about Apocalypse Now. It has nothing to do with Steve Harris's life.
Probably my favorite song on that album, actually.
Sorry?
Probably my favorite song on the album.
I know.
It was great.
That damn bass intro, though.
It's a helicopter intro, isn't it?
Which one is the one of the bass intro? Oh, that's Blood on the World's Hands.
Yeah, I love that song.
Okay, well, we'll just leave that aside for the moment. Anyway,
You're disqualified.
I was very happy to find this very rare Japanese edition that Harrison also owns on Discogs for a reasonable price. And I unboxed this on YouTube. You can check that out.
I got mine on Discogs for a very reasonable price as well.
Excellent. This is not the last we will see of this album. Harrison, over to you. Your number 4.
All right. So in 2015, if I have the date correctly, Blaze reunited with Wolfsbane for a studio album. I believe it's called Wolfsbane Takes on the World. Actually, 2012 is more like it.
Henry actually posted the titles there. Wolfsbane Saves the World.
Saves the World. Yeah, not Takes on the World. And yes, 2022. Then in about 2015, 2016, the album came out in 2016, but he would have been prepping for it before then. He started what would become the Infinite Entanglement trilogy, a trilogy of sci-fi concepts.
Right, yes.
A trilogy of sci-fi concept albums. I don't have the individual albums because I have all the live stuff from the tour, so that's basically been satiating me for now. But now that I've done my extra listening for this show, I need to get these.
Yeah. So
the first album was called Infinite Entanglement. So this is live in France, but
that looks like the Silver Surfer.
It does look a bit like him, I guess. Yeah. But he's flying, not surfing.
Not surfing at all, no.
Yes. That's a fellow by the name of William Black. So Infinite Entanglement came out 2016, and in 2017, or maybe it was 2016, when I was discovering music for the first time, one of the songs from Infinite Entanglement was the other song that really let down me from his solo career. But first, we're going to go to my honorable mention for Infinite Entanglement, which is 1,000 Years. It's brighter than some of the metal you're used to. Brighter as in, like, it feels. It's like more like Born as a Stranger compared to the incredibly, heavy chuggers. And it's got this hook chorus that's really great live. It's a great thing to sing along to. It's just basically just, I will live for 1,000 years. sounds a lot better, of course, because we have a professional singer singing it and not me. But adios. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Henry.
1,000 Years is great live on this one. But my entry is Dark Energy 256. It's this riffy, short, up-tempo number. It's very similar to Future Real in terms of its construction. And this was like, along with Waiting for My Life to Begin, were the two Blaze songs that stuck out to me at the very beginning. I get so nostalgic listening to them. And this album, I believe, was the first time we heard the guitar work of Christopher Appleton, who we will get to a bit later, because the man is excellent. Yeah, Mike's lost his microphone.
I believe that is the Chris that he was
There we
referring to in the War Within Me liner notes earlier.
Yes.
I'm afraid I'm coming down with something. This isn't good. Okay. My number 3 is something I have a single for, so I'm going to show him a single this time. Oh. Comes in this... Well, it didn't come in this box, but it gets stored in this lovely X Factor box. This was the...
Where do you live again?
Ha 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 ha. Funny guy. This was the Man on the Edge single. Came with this extra box to house all of your assorted X Factor related songs. So here's Lord of the Flies, which is one of the few songs. Well, not one of the few. I mean, relatively. One of the songs that Bruce Dickinson still performed in Iron Maiden on the Death on the Road tour.
Yes.
So, Iron Maiden, Lord of the Flies, that artwork was by Hugh Syme, if I'm not mistaken, who definitely came up in a previous list show that Dave Lismy was involved with, the top cover artists, which was a Tim Derling show. So there it is, Lord of the Flies, Saints and Sinners.
The B-sides in this era were amazing.
Oh, Doctor is killer. Absolutely killer. I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about it except that it's melodic. It's single worthy. You could tell the first time you listen to the album, you could tell that this was single worthy. It's one of the, let's say, few upbeat songs on the X Factor.
I wouldn't call it upbeat.
Well, I mean, tempo wise,
yeah.
Like there's a lot of slow songs on the X Factor, which is something that, you know, some fans bitch about, but whatever. Here's all the nice goodies there.
Gimme.
Yeah. And I also have that Japanese version of the X Factor, but there's the standard edition. So yeah, my number 3, Lord of the Flies. Awesome song. Bruce must have liked it. And, you know, for those who don't like or say they don't like Blaze era Iron Maiden, I think Lord of the Flies is one of the songs they should check out. Okay, over to you. Number 3.
All right, so the second chapter in the trilogy was called Endure and Survive. And I think there's a very, very minor slump here compared to the first and the second album, but there are still some great songs on this album. So this is, of course, another live album because I don't have the trilogy. Blaze had released 2 live albums from the tour for this trilogy. They're both great. So the honorable mention is The World is Turning the Wrong Way, which is grand. It's got this grand chorus. And a lot of this album, Endure and Survive, takes advantage of female choir work, which is uniquity in the Blaze discography, and it works really well here, just adding to the grand sense, because this is a sci-fi epic, basically, these concept albums, and the choir helps accentuate that. But my number 1 pick is Dawn of the Dead Sun, which is a song that basically out of all of the songs in Blaze's career, this one might be the one that takes most advantage of his baritone for the chorus. It is like full baritone, and it works really well. It's a great chorus. It's great live. It's great in the studio. And it's my favorite song from that album.
Most excellent. Okay, my number 2. We are back to the Virtual 11 album. And man, how immediate was Future Real? Did it pump you up the first time you heard it? Like, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was like the first, it was one of these early Blaze songs I heard, and it was like, I want this for my ringtone. I want this. I want this. I want this. I want this. It's such a great song.
I thought when I heard Future Real, I thought this is everything that people were complaining that the X Factor wasn't. This is what the people were saying we want to hear Iron Maiden do. A fast one with a great punchy chorus that's over in like under 4 minutes. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but it's a Harris Bailey composition. So congrats to Blaze. He plays it live. Bruce played it live. There you go, folks. It's just blazing fast, to use the same pun. It really is. And if you like those Iron Maiden rockers that just go like a horse, you know, this is the one. Virtual 11, check it out. It's not hard to find. This was 1998. You don't need the one with the fancy cover, though. You can just get the regular one.
I want to get the Japanese version with a bonus disc with some live tracks and then put the 3D cover in it for the ultimate Virtual 11.
Yes. Now, those live tracks that you're referring to are on the singles,
Best
which
of
I
the
didn't.
B-sides as well. I believe.
Yes. I didn't retrieve them for this show, so I can't show them. But there were two
The
songs that were.
Aftermath and Blood on the World's Hand live.
Yes, those two. But yeah, there were 3 singles technically. There were 2 for Angel and the Gambler, and then 1 for Future Real.
Yeah. Future Real had some live tracks as well.
Yes.
One of them which made its debut on Best of the Beast, the other which was exclusive to that single.
There you go, folks. The expert. Your number 2, sir.
All right, so the final chapter in the trilogy, The Redemption of William Black. This is the DVD for the live album again.
Love the artwork, man. It's great artwork.
Yeah, they've got this matching comic book aesthetic.
Yes,
You can see
yes.
there's that Marvel Comics thing.
You know I love that.
You know that I've done a lot of comic book homages for T-Bone Man as well.
Yeah.
But so from The Redemption of William Black, there are some amazing songs on this album. It was incredibly hard to pick my honorable mention, but I've gone for The First True Song. So imagine you start the song with this like baritone chanting, much like the introduction to The Sign of the Cross. And then after a short amount of that, there's just this thundering drums kicking. And then the riff of his entire discography just kicks in, razor sharp, one of the best riffs I've heard in modern metal. And then Blaze comes in, of course, his voice powerful as ever. And then the chorus, you know, grand, powerful. This song is amazing. It's the first true song. So how could you top that then for the actual entry? Well, the actual entry is the... Excellent.
Welcome, Martin. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Good to see you again. The actual entry is the opening track, which is also the opening track on this live album. It's Redeemer. Now, Redeemer is like the perfect metal song. It's fast, it's riffy, the guitars are sharp, it's got this great hook for the chorus, it's got an amazing solo, it's got, you know, a whoa for the crowd to chant along to, and it's got a guitar harmony. There's literally like nothing it's missing. It's like the perfect song. It's an incredible opening. It's even better live. I love, Blaze, it's a wonderful, as the song's ramping up, Blaze is like, because this is in France, this live, and he's like, Je m'appelle Blaze Bayley. I have come to destroy Chez Paulette. And then the song kicks into gear.
Love it. Awesome. Well, shit, I guess this is it. This is number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I have a favorite. I do. And I'll just take the opportunity to show off this box set again. Isn't that nice?
Oh, yes.
A little bit closer there. Oops.
That is, I need that. I must have that.
Now, unfortunately, there was a inner piece of cardboard because it came with 1 CD. There was an inner piece of cardboard as a placeholder, and I've lost that. I'll show off the postcards, though. You'll like this. Came with these postcards, which, of course, you'd be foolish to mail them, but there's Yen. There's Dave. Nico. And, you know, I like that they're posing in an electric chair, too. Steve. And, of course. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I mean, he was not as bad a fit for this band as people are saying. Jonathan Lee. I mean, I was excited. I was like, yeah, you know what? The guy looks cool. I can't wait to see Iron Maiden with this guy and see what they can do. And unfortunately, it just wasn't going to happen. But put this CD on, bought it at that record store. Do you remember that story that I wrote about the X Factor, about the girlfriend in the car? And I was like talking about how excited I was that Iron Maiden were back. She's like, Mike, nobody likes Iron Maiden anymore. That's why she's an ex-girlfriend. Anyway, the pumping fist thing was really inappropriate there. I apologize. That was totally inappropriate. I was trying to be funny. Anyway, Sign of the Cross is the first song in this album. Starts off with Gregorian chanting. Yeah, okay, that was hip in the early 90s, but to hear it on an Iron Maiden album, that was new. That was different. That was cool. And then the bass chimes in, one of many, many bass intros. Do 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 do, which, as you know, becomes a dominant melody in the song. A lot of people gave Maiden shit for using repetitive melodies. Okay, fine, whatever. They still do that. So anyway, it's built slowly, very slowly. I mean, the Gregorian chanting goes on for what, like almost a minute? And then the do goes on for like another 2 minutes. And then the guitar starts with the guitar strumming in, doing those nice chimes. And then well, actually, there's something else cool going on in that quiet part, but it's Nico playing a marching drum part, which is really cool. Then, standing alone in the wind and rain. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. Now, I don't know anything about the movie, what's it called? The Name of the Rose? That this is based on. My dad told me that it was one of the most terrifying, horrifying movies he's ever seen, and he will never watch it again. So I have never sought out The Name of the Rose. But the lyrics tell the story of a man who is being sent for penance, essentially. And that doesn't sound like a very pleasant experience. Sounds like the kind of thing where you might rather be dead than face penance. But that's what I gather from the lyrics. And it goes on for 10 dramatic minutes. And, let's face it, not all, 8 to 10 minute Iron Maiden songs are gripping the whole way through. And I'm not going to claim that the Sign of the Cross is necessarily gripping the whole way through, but it certainly is 100% the thing you want to focus on for those 10 minutes, It has a lot of moments that remind me of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where things slow down and get quiet again. And incidentally, the Gregorian chants come back during those parts. But then it comes back, and there's more parts. And then it goes breakneck at the end. And Yannick comes out with this one solo that's just a screamer. You know the one I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Shit, man, this is a roller coaster ride of a song. And then it ends as it started, quietly. And Blaze's delivery is remarkable. I would tend to believe that Nigel Green and Steve Harris put Blaze through the ringer when they were recording this, take after take, until it was perfect. That's the way it sounds to my ears. That may not be true, but that's the way it sounds to my ears. And I believe that they got a remarkable performance out of Blaze.
Blaze is as much a storyteller as he is a singer.
Clearly, if we haven't gotten that across tonight. Now, Sign of the Cross is a Steve Harris written song. It sounds like a Steve Harris written song, but Blaze put his stamp on his delivery. I don't know. There's going to be people out there, and I know Aaron, Mr. Books, is one of them, who completely dismiss Blaze era Maiden. And yeah, it's different from Bruce stuff, but by now we've had 2 double Iron Maiden studio albums. We've had stuff like The Final Frontier. We should be used to these longer Iron Maiden songs with slower, ballady moments. We should be acceptable. We should be accepting these things from Iron Maiden now. We shouldn't be so, it doesn't sound like the Number of the Beast. Yeah, well, no shit. Doesn't sound like Number of the Beast. Nothing Maiden have done since the Number of the Beast sounds like the Number of the
Yeah.
Beast.
Strictly speaking, no Maiden album sounds like another one. It's part of the great appeal of the discography.
This is true. Although, to be frank, the last two are kind of sames in a way. But, you're right that they do sound different. I played them back to back. You're right. Anyway, I will wind up what I'm saying about my number one choice, Sign of the Cross, by saying, if you don't like Blaze era Maiden, I get it, but I think you're missing out. I really do. And again, sorry, forgot to mention, Bruce sang it live, Rock in Rio. There's
not just then, Knights of the Dead as well, just recently.
There you go. So there's something to this song. I don't think Bruce has to sing these songs. If he wanted to object, I think at this point in Maiden's career, Steve Harris will go, yeah, all right, Bruce, that's all right. No problem, Bruce. We'll pick a different song, okay? I think that's my theory. I don't know. I'm not on the inner circle of Iron Maiden. I'm not Rod Smallwood. But I'd like to think that if Bruce didn't want to sing these songs, he wouldn't be singing them. And regardless, Bruce puts a different spin on them, and it's different from Blaze's. And listener decides. Tonight's a show about Blaze Bayley, so Sign of the Cross, my number one. End of story. Harrison, thank you for allowing me to go on about.
So as we've discussed multiple times tonight, War Within Me is Blaze's latest solo album. It's also his best. This is his crowning moment, his finest hour. It is an amazing album. There are 10 songs on this album. Every single one is a top tier song. 9 of them could have been singles almost. The only reason why the number 10 won't be a single, my honorable mention, Every Storm Ends, the closer, because it's more of a power ballad.
So good though.
But it's an amazing power ballad. Blaze can do power ballads really well. There's a song called Life Goes On from the Redemption of William Black that could have easily made my list, but Every Storm Ends, perfect end to this album.
Yeah. It's not a concept album, but it listens like a concept album to my ears.
Yeah. As you can pretty much imagine, any of the songs on this album could have been, on my list. I could have made a list 100%. Of this album. So I was almost considering just putting the album as my number one entry.
100%.
But I did want to pick one because there are people who might be looking at these lists and being like, all right, listen to that song.
Yeah.
So I could have put Unstoppable Stephen Hawking, but I figured you'd bring it up.
You knew.
So one of the other songs that just stuck out to me so much. Oh, by the way, the artwork on the back cover actually continues from the front cover.
I love the cover art, by the way.
By the way, like you can see, there's a Spitfire there.
Yeah.
There's like a wheelchair in the sky, some lightning, a black hole.
Hawking.
There's
Hawking and Tesla. The Spitfire refers to a song called 303.
Yeah. There's a stage from 18 Flights of a motorbike somewhere. So this artwork is kind of like the artwork that I did for this show,
which we'll talk about momentarily.
But anyway, the song I've picked is Pull Yourself Up. It's an incredibly heavy song. But it's also like the most positive song on the album.
Yes.
I say it's like being smashed over the head with an anvil while someone's yelling at you that you are a worthy human being. You are great. You are amazing. While being smashing you over the head with an anvil. That's how heavy the song is. It's a wonderful juxtaposition, and it's a great song. It's amazing.
Excellent. I love it. Again, I'll plug my review. It goes up Sunday, and you'll be able to see what I had to say about Blaze Bayley's The War Within. And also, while we were talking, I got a message from the 80s Metal Man, and our Savatage top 10 songs list is going to go up on both his site and my site on November the 30th. I believe that's a Thursday. Okay. Thank you, Harrison. That was an awesome set of lists. Before we talk about the artwork, let's give Harrison a round of applause.
I'll just close out Blaze Bayley's solo career with his most recent release, 2022's single live album, Damaged, Strange and Different and Live. This is a live album compiled from the tour for War Within Me and the 30th anniversary Maiden tour. So you get 5 songs from War Within Me, and you get 4 from his Maiden years, including an amazing rendition of Como Estais Amigos, the only song from Virtual 11 that Iron Maiden did not play live on that tour.
I was going to mention that when you talked about ballads. Beautiful song. Always liked it.
Amazing song. I love that song. And I suppose the final thing that I haven't showed off, because we've seen my Virtual 11 and X Factor, is the holy grail, the crowning jewel of my entire collection.
Okay. Oh.
A soundboard bootleg from BLAZE's Iron Maiden's show at Monsters of Rock 1996, Brazil 1996, Sao Paulo. You can see the TV broadcast, and when I was able to get my hands on the soundboard recording and hear all those renditions in perfect, crystal clear sound, just about, it was an amazing moment.
Where'd you get it, Harrison?
eBay.
Okay.
I literally just put the name of it in eBay, and there was one guy in Israel who had it, and I said, it's worth the shot. And it came to me, and it's perfect.
Lovely.
So yeah, this is incredibly rare, possibly the rarest CD I own. That's not Max the Axe.
Okay, let's just recap real quick for the audience. Harrison needs this, so if you find one, let us know. And Harrison, I need
Silicon 15th anniversary.
There it is. I need that.
Well, you're in luck because you can buy this directly from BLAZE's website.
Excellent.
And I sent you the link before the show.
Thank you, Harrison. Awesome. Okay, so
I also sent the link to his Bandcamp, which has a bunch of official bootlegs on there. And there's some very interesting songs. You can get some live versions of like Promise and Terror's Watching the Night Sky. You can get an acoustic version of Dr. Doctor. But you can also get from the 2003 radio broadcast what I consider to be the ultimate, the best rendition of Sign of the Cross ever. The aggression, the power, it's just all turned up to 11. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so one last thing. We're going to take a look at Harrison's amazing artwork that he did for the show today. But before we do that, we've danced around this subject a little bit. We haven't directly addressed it, what BLAZE's biggest challenge has been to date, which was that heart attack that he had. And he endured a serious surgery. And he looks great. And he sounds great. And he works so hard, this man. And, you gotta just give a fist pump for Blaze Bayley. The man's a survivor. He's tough as steel. And an inspiration, as we've definitely said tonight. So, Blaze Bayley, we love you, man. You're welcome on the show at any time. Okay, so I am going to now show you the artwork. I've got to get the folder open on my desktop here. Now, the only thing I don't have is the overall artwork. We'll just have to do the close-ups. So that's what we'll do. Bear with me a moment. Here it is.
So we'll go chronologically then, starting with Wolfsbane, shall we?
I'm going with this one that's in the folder first. We're just going...
Okay, we'll go in folder order then.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's alphabetical.
Just there it is. Okay, I got the right folder. So we're starting here, and I can't see you anymore, just FYI. I'm going to guess here that that's the sign of the cross.
Well, that was your original guess. I did previously tell you what all of these are.
I know, but don't expect me to remember.
Yes. For reference, these are references to all his albums and some other things that he's done, except Wolfsbane. So this is a literal interpretation of the phrase blood and belief. Now, in the context of the album, I believe blood and belief refers to his blood, sweat, and tears and belief in himself. However, that's hard to quantify in plastic form. So I went for a cross with blood dripping from it as a literal interpretation of blood and belief.
Brilliant. And as a Lego fanatic, I will just point out his very clever use of the triangle plates to do that, make the blood look level on the cross. And then the new, I call them pucks, the little round plate at the bottom there to simulate a drop of blood.
Yeah, brilliant. I did use one for a hockey puck in black before.
Yes, you did. Yes, that was in T-Bone Man versus Edie Van Halen.
And versus Brad Marchand.
Oh, okay. There you go. Next, I'm going to see if I can zoom in here. There we go. How's that? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so I see a calendar with Christmas Eve circled.
All right. So this the Christmas Eve is not the relevant part.
Okay.
Although on Blaze's Bandcamp, there's a couple of Christmas songs on there that I didn't realize.
That's what I thought that was a reference to. That's what I.
This
Again,
is-
remember, I can't remember any of the explanations that you sent me.
This is actually a reference to the collaboration he did with, I believe, Swedish violinist Thomas Svein. I believe that's. I'm butchering the name, but
Okay.
he'll have to correct. Someone will have to correct me on that. That's called December Wind.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
So
Next.
It's actually the December that's relevant, not the Christmas. But I had
I understand.
limited things to choose from.
Someone who knows that song would immediately get that reference. Okay. Next slide. We have the German flag.
This is a reference to his collaboration with Doro Pesch on her live album Strong and Proud. Blaze sang Fear of the Dark. It's an amazing cover, by the way. Blaze knows how to sing it properly, and he nails it. It sounds great. The reason why this was actually the very last thing I did for this artwork. I was looking at the picture and I was like, oh, the top right looks a bit bare bones. So I'm like, what can I put there? What can I put there? And then I remembered, yes, he did that thing with Doro. So German flag.
And I'm just looking at it. I'm examining the construction, and I was questioning why there's a 3 stud length brick, and then I realized it's because there's a 1 brick that there has a clip that's clipped to a flagpole. So that's cool. Oh, not a flagpole. It's clipped to a vertical
Just a
girder.
bar.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next slide is now this one I didn't catch.
This is a reference to the Infinite Entanglement trilogy. Basically, all 3 albums feature William Black on the front.
Oh, okay. So that's that character that I referred to as the Silver Surfer.
This is actually based on the redemption of William Black, the cover for the 3rd album in the trilogy. He looks like this. He has a more bluer tinge than this silver one.
Cool. Okay, next slide. A spaceship with a skull for the front.
Actually, no. This is a reference to Led Zeppelin. Blaze Bayley also did the Blaze Band did a studio cover of Dazed and Confused, which appeared on an album that was, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a heavy metal tribute to Led Zeppelin. And the front cover had this like skull.
Okay.
This skull Zeppelin on it.
And that's what this is? This is a skull Zeppelin?
Yeah, I've actually still got sort of semi-constructed the thing I used for it.
Cool. And now keep in mind, I can't see your screen.
True. The audience can. Pulling off the construction of this Zeppelin is one of my greatest Lego achievements to date, I think.
It is very good.
I really wanted to pull this off, and I think I did.
I think you did. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one.
Yeah.
A pig man.
Yes. This is a reference to The Man Who Would Not Die, because on that album cover, there's a bunch of like animals in robes tormenting this man. One of them is a pig.
Okay. Where'd you get that headpiece?
That is from a Lego original thing called Monkey Kid, which is based on something to do with Chinese, I think, mythology or something. I'm sorry, I don't know. All I was just like, I need a Lego pig head. There's a Lego pig head.
You had one. Okay.
Well, I bought it specifically for this artwork. But
oh, that's dedication, pal. Okay, so here I see perhaps a statue and an upside down mountain, perhaps. I'm not sure what I'm seeing here.
This isn't my best work because it's a reference to the Promise and Terror album cover. You can see that's supposed to be like white sea spray, and there's a man in the middle of rock in the middle of the ocean. But it's a very dark album cover. It was hard to pull off. You'd have to know about Promise and Terror to even get close to guessing this.
Gotcha. Okay, next we have, I know this one. That's the Silicon Messiah.
Yeah, well, it's the cover. It's based on the cover of Silicon Messiah. The actual Silicon Messiah, I think, is his baby thing on the back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
On the back of the album. But,
But yeah, that was Blaze's face with circuitry in it on the front cover. And what's that?
Oh, I'm just saying that this character's coming out of a computer.
Yes, I see this cool purple sort of wave, but I also see you've added light to his eyes and to the wave itself.
Yeah, I recolored his eyes. I believe his head is the same one that you used for Colonel Cooper, so I digitally recolored his eyes.
That story doesn't go up yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Oops.
Okay, and this, I'm not sure.
This is my reference to the eyeball from the 10th dimension.
Right. Okay, cool.
It's on a computer screen because I had to stick it somewhere, and
a very nice computer it is. Ah, yes. Now, this one kind of reminded me of that machine that Emperor Palpatine was hooked up to in The Rise of Skywalker.
This is actually the machine that Eddie is hooked up to on the X Factor, but it's more based on the alternate cover art, which has his full body attached to the chair rather than the one from the main cover art where his head's being ripped apart and it's only half of him.
Right, and we have shown that cover tonight, so
yes.
Rewind if you need to see it again, folks. And
there's Blaze himself. We'll get to him.
And what I like is you can even see he's got like an open heart surgery scar.
I guess
that's coincidence. That's just coincidence. But yeah,
this is based on his Alive in Poland appearance, where he lost some of his clothes over the course of the show.
I'd also like to draw attention to the bald head with sideburns look, which I'm not aware of very many people who rock that look, and definitely not as well as Blaze. His sideburns are sharp. And we have the soccer ball here from Virtual 11.
Yes, indeed.
Brilliant. I know there's lots of Lego soccer sets, so that probably wasn't too expensive to find.
Nope.
I'm not aware of this reference.
Okay, so this is a reference. This is a weak reference, admittedly. It's for
looks like Tesla coils.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at. Basically, I almost didn't reference War Within Me because the War Within Me artwork is almost a reference in itself.
Right.
So maybe the whole artwork is a reference to War Within Me, but I caved in and I put these electricity stuff here. It's sort of based on, the Max the Axe Status Electric cover. It was Tesla. I had to come up with a reference for War Within Me. Maybe I could have thrown a motorbike somewhere.
You could have thrown a wheelchair in the scene, and that would have counted as a Stephen Hawking reference. But yeah, no, I saw the Tesla coils as we zoomed in. At first, I was seeing them as heads, but no,
well, they are Lego heads.
Yes, exactly, and I had to get that out of my head. Okay, next slide. We have a wolf.
Gee, I wonder what could a wolf be.
But interestingly enough, Wolfsbane is a plant, is it not?
True, but I had to. If I put a plant there, who would have guessed it?
Nobody. We would have all guessed Robert Plant. And that is the last of the drawings that I have in my folder. Or drawings, artwork. So again, Harrison, you've topped yourself there with some excellent artwork. Thank you so much for doing this artwork every single freaking week. Just to be honest with you, I gave you a couple extra stamps on your stamp card. For those who missed it, I pulled this out of Harrison's file today. He has earned his own show topic today, and it was Blaze Bayley. And yes, for those wondering, look, I do indeed have a file on Harrison. And you can get these stickers at tpublic.com. Phew. Oh, that was an epic show, Harrison, my friend. I enjoyed myself tonight.
Thank you for doing me this honor.
Thank you for providing this subject and bringing such expertise. Holy crap, man. I had a great time tonight, even though I'm feeling under the weather, although I am feeling better than I was right after the break. So cheer for me, folks. Okay, so next week, we're doing Metallica. We are doing the top 5. We're going to call it deep cuts, but really what we're talking about is non-singles. Anything that wasn't a single is what we're going to do.
Which some of their most well-known songs, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting is what's going to happen. We're going to be with Tim Derling and Jack.
Right, so my first list entry is The Mechanics by Megadeth. It's a great song. I heard this band called Metallica covered it.
See, that's a reference to last week when he picked Chicken Foot on a Van Halen list show. And by the way, I've been getting messages about that from Jonathan Lee. And he specifically talked about the Metallica show. And I believe Roger has also approached me naming you specifically. So you better not screw up the Metallica list show. So folks, if you missed last week's Van Halen show, which was a banger, by the way, Harrison picked a Chicken Foot song on his top 5 Van Halen.
It was a Deep Purple song as covered by Chicken Foot.
Anyway. My point being, he really went out of bounds last week, but we love him and he earned his punch card. Now you got to start over from scratch again. And anyway, I don't know. I feel like keep going on a little bit longer, but I don't have anything left to say about Blaze. So what do you have going
on? Just more of the usual Lego art. Expect something Iron Maiden-y this Sunday.
This Sunday. Okay. Same day that I'm posting my War Within Me review.
Yeah, not Blaze, unfortunately. Regular. Bruce
Okay.
Maiden.
Okay.
80s Maiden.
That's interesting. Okay. I don't know. I kind of feel like how are you for time?
I can keep going if you want.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I have all of Saturday.
Okay. I wouldn't mind. I want to do another Ask Harrison.
Okay.
And I want to do another Lego-based Ask Harrison because it's relevant to the current topic discussion. So before we go, we'll just do a couple more things. Here's Ask Harrison from me.
Oh, hey, Harrison, funny seeing you here. I just got back from the Lego store. And I was wondering, I know you like to collect minifigures, and a lot of your Lego art revolves around minifigures, but how do you feel about these more art-oriented sets? They're more geared towards adults. They don't have minifigures, but I think they're pretty cool. What do you think, Harrison? I think that would make a pretty good backdrop in a picture with minifigures. What do you think?
What do you think?
I think you're correct, and that scares me because my wallet. No, yeah, I don't tend to buy a lot of the art sets. That space one is amazing. If there was ever an art set I would buy, it would be the space one first.
We just bought it. We, you know that, but the audience doesn't. We have that one now.
Yeah, I don't tend to. I did recently buy the Indiana Jones temple set, which is more of like the diorama set, but that's an awesome set. That one is. But,
it is.
Yeah, my main issue is space. I am like so hard up to space around here.
Us too. Okay, so that was an Ask Harrison, and I may as well play this as well before we go. This isn't an Ask Harrison. This is something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I titled this clip, Bret Michaels Scolds T-Bone. Now, I'll just use this opportunity to plug Deke and Jax on the Distortion Den. They just did an episode this week of the Battle of 1988 between Poison's Open Up and Say Ah and Cinderella's Long Cold Winter. So with that in mind, Bret Michaels scolds T-Bone. Here we go.
Hello everyone, Bret Michaels here. On this week's episode of I've Got a Bone to Pick, I tracked down the elusive T-Bone Erickson in his home nonetheless, and we have a little chat about music that is awful. One-on-one, mano-a-mano. So, I'm scrolling through the Grab a Stack of Rock group chat, of which I am a card-carrying member, and I come upon a bit where you randomly comment that my solo music is probably awful. Who do you think you are? You want to talk about music that is awful, open door, piss? It's about a dude taking a leak. What is wrong with you? I'm not finished. Balls of Steel? They play a tune like a glockenspiel? You are literally singing about a dude's balls. I mean, what the fuck? Fuck pants? I don't even know what to say. Happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man? Don't you ever just write songs about chicks, dude? I mean, are you sure you really grew up in the 80s? So, what do you have to say for yourself? Mr. T-Bone? Yeah, I didn't think so. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Tune in next time when we pay a visit to Mr. Tim Derling. Good night.
I actually, you know what? I didn't watch that before. I wanted to save it for a surprise. So that's great. That's great. Thank you, T-Bone. Well, Harrison, on that note, I think Bret Michaels kind of introduced this next song for us. The song called Happy Birthday to the Mad Metal Man. Now, it doesn't have to be the Mad Metal Man's birthday to play this song, but today is kind of a celebration of not just Blaze, but also you. Thank you for over a year of co-hosting Grab a Stack with me. I know it was kind of tough in the summer when I was doing a lot of afternoon shows and you were sound asleep like a little Australian. But
except that one time.
Sorry, what's that?
Except that one time I woke up at 5 a.m.
Oh, yes. But anyway.
And you could see it on my face. I was just so tired.
Yeah, you could. But thank you so much again. This was a great show, and I really hope people do check it out. And tag the crap out of Blaze tomorrow. Before we go, let's try to get a good thumbnail image. What CD do you think we should hold up together to get a good thumbnail image?
God,
Do you want to do our 10th dimensions again? The eyeballs? That's kind of striking.
Let me go with
Okay.
He Came from Outer Space.
Okay. I'm going to do The War Within Me, though. I think, right? Think so? What do you think? There we go. There we go. Okay. There's the thumbnail image. 1 minute, 40 seconds.
1 hour,
1 hour, 40 minutes, and 40 seconds. Thank you. Okay. So, folks, we'll see you next week when we're here to talk Metallica. And this is a song called Happy Birthday to the Mad Metal Man, because every day is the Mad Metal Man's birthday. See you next week, Harrison.
All right. See ya.
Take care. Bye.
Okay.
From a land down under comes a burning flame, like a crack of thunder when you hear his name. So contrary, borderline insane, you can't look away. This is how we say, happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man, to the Mad Metal Man. Heavy metal coursing through his veins, but he won't settle for the same old same. You try to sway him, but it's all in vain. He will never change. So this is how we say, happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man. Hey, hey, hey. This is how we say, happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man. The Mad Metal Man.